Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us and really dig into them, pulling out the most fascinating bits.
Exactly.
Now, you send us a whole bunch of stuff on South Dakota, and, usually you hear South Dakota, you think Mount Rushmore, right? Those giant faces, history literally carved in stone.
That's the postcard version, yeah.
Yeah.
The big obvious history, grandeur, Wild West, all that.
Uh-huh.
But the sources we got, mostly recent articles, 2023 to 2025, plus some older accounts, they paint a really different picture. A much spookier South Dakota.
Hidden history, macabre, haunted, stuff that's not on the tourism brochures.
Pretty much. History that isn't just in books. It feels like it's still there.
Yeah.
Still walking around.
Okay, so that's the goal for today then, to piece together this haunted layer.
That's the mission, yeah. We looked at all these different most haunted lists and articles you sent, trying to see which places pop up again and again and which have strong historical connections.
So sort of mapping the state's paranormal hotspots?
Exactly. Giving you a kind of structure for understanding this chilling side of South Dakota's past, how trauma gets anchored to places, hotels, theaters, even landscapes.
Right. Okay, let's get into it. And I guess there's really only one place to start, isn't there? Deadwood.
Oh, absolutely, Deadwood.
Yeah.
It's hands down the capital of haunted South Dakota. No contest.
The sources just kept mentioning it.
The sheer density of ghost stories there is incredible, and it ties right back to its origins, that violent Wild West boomtown past.
You've got the big names buried there, Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane.
Right, side by side in Mount Moriah Cemetery. And it feels like their energy and the energy of that whole era just sort of saturated the town and never really left.
And the buildings themselves soak it up. Like the Bullock Hotel, named after Seth Bullock, the first sheriff.
He died there in room 211 back in 1919.
And his ghost. I love this description. He's like an overachieving manager.
It's perfect, isn't it? Apparently, he was a pretty imposing guy in life, very dedicated to order. And now his ghost just keeps running the hotel.
So, lights flicker, things move.
Yeah, standard stuff, but also alarm clocks. They go off in the middle of the night, even when they're unplugged.
Unplugged. Okay, that's specific.
Very. Seems like he's still making sure things run on schedule, mostly patrolling the upper floors and the basement. He's managing even in death.
That's wild. It's interesting because it's not like a tragic haunting. He's just dedicated, still on the job.
Yeah, the theory is it's just his personality, his commitment. He was so focused on law and order than running his hotel that it just became his eternal task, tied to the building itself, not some unresolved drama.
Okay, contrast that with the Adams house then. That one feels different, much heavier.
Oh, the Adams house is pure tragedy. It's this beautiful Victorian place, but yeah, the history is heartbreaking.
W. Adams, the mayor, died there after a stroke in '34.
Right, but the real gut punch is what happened before that. Almost 10 years earlier, in 1925, he lost his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, all within 48 hours.
Oh my God, 48 hours.
Yeah, just unimaginable loss, concentrated like that. So the house is just steeped in grief.
And his second wife.
Mary.
Yeah.
She apparently heard his footsteps upstairs after he died, and it freaked her out so much she just left.
Yeah.
Locked the door and didn't come back for 50 years. Left everything inside exactly as it was.
Wow. So it became like a time capsule of grief?
Exactly. Perfectly preserved bubble of that residual energy. Visitors feel it now that it's a museum. You can feel the weight.
And you can't talk Deadwood without the saloons and less reputable spots, right?
No.
Saloon number 10, the Fairmont Hotel.
Right, classic Wild West haunts. The Fairmont used to be a brothel and saloon. It's got a couple of main ghosts. Jack McCall.
The guy who shot Wild Bill.
That's him. People report feeling him brush past them near the bar. And then there's the really sad story of Margaret Broadwater.
What happened to her?
She jumped from a third-floor window in 1907. Just tragic. These places, they collected stories of quick, violent deaths, desperate acts. That kind of trauma, it really sticks.
Okay, so Deadwood's got that intense Wild West layer. But the sources also talked about buildings with different kinds of tragic histories, places that sort of became something else.
Yeah, buildings transformed by tragedy. It's like the Homestake Opera House in Lead.
Lead, okay. So it started as a grand theater.
Absolutely beautiful place, a cultural hub. But then the Spanish flu hit hard. The main hospital was totally overwhelmed.
So they used the Opera House.
As a makeshift infirmary.
Yeah.
They housed the sick, the dying, right there in the theater, waiting for the final curtain, you could say.
Wow. And the ghosts reflect both sides.
That's what the reports suggest. You get phantom musicians tuning up, ghostly applause. The theater stuff. But then also whispers, apparitions, possibly the spirits of those who died there during the pandemic. performance and suffering kind of overlaid.
It's like the building holds both energies.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
theaters often seem to amplify that kind of activity anyway, right? Then you add a mass tragedy.
Makes sense. Okay, moving over to Sioux Falls, the Old Minnehaha Courthouse. Built way back in 1889, now it's a museum.
And it supposedly holds on to the energy of all that intense legal drama that happened there.
What kind of activity?
Things related to its old function. Like people hear phantom sweeping sounds and sometimes see a ghostly custodian sweeping a courtroom. Then he just vanishes if you get close.
A spectral janitor. Okay.
But the really jarring one is the sound. People hear someone falling like violently down the main staircase. They rush over.
And there's no one there.
Exactly. Staircase is empty. It's like a moment of past terror just replaying.
Chilling. Then there's another haunted theater in Sioux Falls, the Orpheum.
Yep, the Orpheum. This one even has a named ghost, apparently.
Larry.
Larry.
Sounds friendly.
Maybe playful. Or just restless. He's seen as a figure in a blue-green light, usually up in the balcony.
Okay, is that it? Just Larry?
Well, no, the Orpheum has other weirdness. Back in the 50s, someone found this really ornate, fancy casket hidden in the boiler room, empty.
A casket? Why?
Nobody knows. And apparently it later just disappeared,
Yeah.
vanished. So there's maybe some deeper, stranger history there, too.
That is weird. What about the actor, Ray Loftus?
Ah, yeah, that story. The legend goes he saw Larry back in 1959. And right after that, bam, knocked out cold by a falling sandbag.
Ouch. Theater accidents happen, though, rare.
But wait, it gets weirder. It happened to him again. Struck by another falling sandbag shortly after. Twice. Right after seeing Larry.
Twice. Okay, maybe Larry isn't so friendly. Or just a terrible stagehand.
It could be.
Yeah.
Definitely adds to the lore.
All right, one more building before we head outside. Mount Rushmore Brewing Company in Hill City. This one's got a particularly grim backstory.
Yeah, this one's interesting because the history is so present. Before it was a brewery, it was a funeral home
Okay.
and a crematorium.
Oh, right.
And the key thing, you can still see parts of the old cremation furnace down in the basement. It's right there.
Seriously. Well, people are upstairs having a beer.
Apparently so. Employees report the usual stuff, objects moving, weird noises, especially from the basement. But having that physical reminder, the actual furnace,
Yeah.
that definitely amplifies things, I think.
Yeah, you're basically standing right on top of where bodies were processed. That's
Wow.
intense. Creates a unique vibe for sure.
It does. And, it shows that these hauntings aren't just confined to, like, old hotels or theaters. They spread out
Yeah.
into the landscape itself.
Right, because South Dakota has some pretty dramatic, eerie landscapes, too.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where the stories often connect to Native American legends, natural phenomena, and really deep spiritual weight.
Where do we start with that?
I think we have to start with Sitka Hollow State Park. The name itself tells you something.
Sitka. What does that mean?
In the Dakota language, Sitka means evil or bad.
Okay, not subtle.
Not at all. The place is just felt to have this powerful, kind of negative spiritual energy.
And people report seeing things, hearing things.
Yeah, sightings of Native American spirits, phantom drum beats. But also, the place looks eerie. There are these bog waters that run blood red.
Blood red. Seriously.
Well, it's caused by high iron deposits in the water. But visually, it feeds right into the legends.
What legends?
The main one is about a figure named Hand, who disrespected the sacred ground there. The tribe called upon Thunderer, a messenger of the Great Spirit, who supposedly destroyed Hand for his transgression. So the land itself is seen as having this power, this history of judgment.
Where the physical environment and the legends just mesh perfectly.
Exactly. Then you go west to the Badlands. That place has a reputation too, right?
It does. The sources ranked it pretty high nationally for haunted parks.
Yeah, often cited as the third most haunted national park in the U.S. You can kind of feel why. It's so desolate, those sharp peaks, the silence. It just feels ancient and uncanny.
People see things there too.
Shadowy figures are common in reports. And there are specific Native American legends tied to certain spots like Dogwatch Butte. Like the history of the land itself sometimes becomes visible.
Okay. Then, further east, Devil's Gulch near Garrettson. That place has two very different ghost stories attached, doesn't it?
It does. There's the famous one, the Outlaw Tale. Jesse James supposedly made this incredible leap across the gorge on horseback to escape a posse. Maybe impossible, but it's the legend.
The daredevil escape.
Right. But that's not really the source of the haunting, according to most reports. The paranormal stuff, the moans, the apparitions people claim to experience that's tied to an older, sadder story from the 1800s.
What happened then?
A pair of lovers, supposedly an outlaw, and a local woman named Nellie Harding were cornered there after some kind of fight. Both were fatally wounded and died in the Gulch.
So it's their grief, their tragedy that lingers, not Jesse James's bravado.
Seems like it. The pain of their deaths, rather than the thrill of escape, is what defines the haunting for most people who report things there.
Okay. And then there's the most significant site, the one that needs real care when discussing. Wounded Knee.
Yes, Wounded Knee Massacre site on the Pine Ridge Reservation. This isn't just a haunted spot. It's a site of immense historical trauma and profound significance.
Remind us of the timeline, December 1890.
Right. The U.S. 7th Cavalry intercepted Chief Bigfoot and his band of Lakota ghost dancers. They surrounded them near Wounded Knee Creek. Tensions were incredibly high, a shot was fired, and the cavalry opened up with rifles and Hotchkiss guns.
And the result was horrific.
A massacre. At least 300 Lakota men, women, and children were killed, maybe more. They were buried later in a mass grave there, which is now the center of the memorial cemetery.
The sources were really clear. Visiting here is different. It's not about ghost hunting.
Absolutely not. It demands solemn respect. Visitors consistently report this overwhelming feeling, an unnatural stillness, like the air itself is heavy.
And physical reactions, too.
Yeah, many people feel suddenly nauseous, get intense headaches, or are just overcome with immense sadness, grief, even despair. It's not residual energy from one or two deaths. It feels like the palpable weight of that massive historical violence. Anyone going near there needs to understand that and approach with deep reverence.
Definitely. A place where history isn't just remembered, it's felt deeply. Okay, let's bring it back indoors for our last couple of locations. Highly active places, starting with a grand old hotel. The Hotel Alex Johnson in Rapid City.
Right, historic place. Hosted 6 presidents, apparently. And it's known for a couple of pretty famous ghosts.
There's the founder's daughter.
Yeah, who sadly died of polio. And then the really famous one, the Lady in White.
The ghost bride in room 812.
That's the one. Supposedly took her own life there, or was maybe pushed. The story varies, but room 812 is the focus.
And the activity is more than just cold spot.
Oh yeah, you get the standard flickering lights, elevators doing weird things, cold drafts, classic hotel haunting stuff. But in room 812 specifically, guests have reported finding the words "help me" written in the steam on the bathroom mirror after a shower.
Whoa. Okay, that's unsettling. Attributed to the bride.
That's the story. And people also hear a little girl giggling and running down the hallway on the 8th floor, presumably the founder's daughter.
A mix of tragedy and maybe something more playful. Now, contrast that with our final stop, Easton Castle in Aberdeen.
Yeah, this striking yellow brick mansion. Queen Anne style. It even has a connection to L. Frank Baum, the Wizard of Oz author.
Oh, so?
His niece, Leslie Gage, worked there as a housekeeper for a time. And some say she was part of the inspiration for Dorothy.
Interesting connection. Beautiful house, literary link. But the haunting sounds pretty intense.
It really does. You've got some of the more standard reports. The ghost of Mrs. Easton seen, disembodied footsteps, sounds of old parties.
Okay, fairly typical haunted house stuff.
But then there's the other main report, the really disturbing one, a shadowy figure.
Yeah.
That supposedly chases people through the house, wielding a knife.
Wait, chases them? With a knife?
That's the claim in some sources. It's a huge step up from a giggling child or a ghost managing a hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actively aggressive suggests a completely different kind of energy or entity tied to that place. Maybe something violent happened there.
Could be. It definitely raises questions about what exactly is being encountered there. Is it just residual violent energy replaying or something more interactive and hostile?
Okay, so pulling all this together, synthesizing these sources, what's the pattern? What connects these South Dakota hauntings?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really feels like they cluster around 3 main historical periods, 3 kinds of trauma.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's that intense, violent Wild West era that seems almost entirely focused on Deadwood, just pure chaos energy.
Got it.
Second, the tragedies that happened in buildings that became something else, usually institutions, like the Homestake Opera House turning into an infirmary, or the courthouse holding all that legal drama and maybe executions, suffering tied to disease, law, that kind of thing.
Right, the buildings absorbing institutional pain. And third?
The third is the power embedded in the land itself, especially tied to Native American history sites of conflict, sacred places, deep spiritual legends. Like Siga Hollow, the Badlands, and especially Wounded Knee, that energy feels ancient and profound.
Wild West violence, institutional tragedy, and deep land-based spiritual energy. That covers most of them, doesn't it?
Pretty much all the major ones reported across the sources, yeah.
And for anyone listening who's now thinking road trip, the sources had some advice, right? Practical tips.
They did. And it's important, first and foremost, respect these places. Many are historical landmarks. Some are sacred ground to native tribes. Others are private property. Don't trespass. Don't be disruptive.
Good point. What else?
If you can, try to visit during guided tours. It's usually safer. You'll get better information, actual history, not just rumors, and it supports the preservation of these sites.
Makes sense.
And finally, just go with an open mind, but also a respectful one. These places aren't amusement parks. They hold real history, real pain sometimes.
Right. So thinking about this, the fact that South Dakota seems to have so many haunted sites, and they
Yeah.
link so strongly to these really difficult parts of its past, the violence, the disease, the conflict,
Yeah.
it suggests maybe the state's real legacy isn't just Mount Rushmore. Maybe it's this constant confrontation with its own tough history, a history that isn't just remembered, it's still present,
Yeah.
palpable.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's the actual difference between just remembering history, reading it in a book, and being truly haunted by it?
Hmm.
Where does one end and the other begin?
That is the question, isn't it? Something to chew on. Well, thank you for sending in these truly chilling sources on South Dakota. Fascinating stuff.
Definitely gave me a new perspective on the state.
Yeah, me too. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.